Happy Jeff Ruby Day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into the Turfway Park Odds Couple pre-race show. Jimmy McNerney alongside Dan Cronin, and I'm glad we're here.
Yeah, I'm ecstatic we're here. I kept waiting for that snowball to keep rolling, so I'm very happy that this continued.
Yeah, so we have a 12-race card here today, highlighted by the featured Jeff Ruby Stakes. That will go as race number 11. The undercard stakes, there's 5 other stakes, including the Oaks, the Bourbonnais Oaks. That's race number 10. Now, we have a couple of different betting options today. As normal, we have an extra pick 5 on the back half of the card, but as normal, race number 1 starts the pick 5, and there is a jockey change on the 3, Kittens Man to Gabe Lagunas. How about the opener? It's a good quality card the whole way through, and we start things off with a great maiden special.
Yeah, I mean, there's 3 horse. I think this is a 3-horse race. I mean, at least my opinion, you got a 3-horse race here. The 5, King Snake, I would think will eventually be the favorite unless there's some kind of steam on this 4, because first flash the 4 went down to favorite. And then you got the 7, Hard Target, who has had 2 abysmal post positions, ran 2 very good races, now gets the 7 hole, should be able to stalk the pace, and we'll see his best race today. Is it good enough to beat King Snake, who's coming out of 2 stakes races? I don't know that. And then the 4, I don't know if he's the second coming or what's going on with that horse, but I don't think you need more than 4, 5, 7. Now obviously the 1 or 2 may be runners too that we don't know about, but from what I can see on paper, smaller players, I think you might be able to get through single in the 5. If you want to add a couple horses to start the pick 5, it'd be the 4, 7, but I wouldn't add anybody else.
Yeah, it's a good quality field. And I'm like you. I've been all over Hard Target. We've spoke about him a couple of times. I think he's, in fact, ran on one of the shows we've done, and he's been up against it. Has drawn the inside. Like, you talked about the 1 and the 2 maybe could win. They'd have to be really good to win with those unfortunate inside draws. Now, if they have speed, they could. But this race is loaded. Like I said, Hard Target, draws to the outside. We've been on him a couple of times, and, it's just unfortunate that the time he does draw outside, he catches a field of this caliber, especially with King Snake in there. And I do like the 4 Lucky Asset you spoke about, currently taking all the money, 6-5. Those odds won't stay there. That horse will drift up. He's very well-bred, son of Honor Code out of a mare named My Twilight Dancer. She's thrown 5 foals to race 3 of those winners, including 2 stake winners. One of those was Grand Contender, who won several Grade 3 stakes event and over $660,000, and then a horse named Twilight Eclipse from Grand Motion.
Oh, yeah.
That horse made over $2 million, so this one's a half to both of those, and currently is taking a lot of early money. So as we always talk about, that's barn money. Somebody knows something, but the horse is never polyed, but has been working decently at the training center in Lexington. I'm going to use that horse on top. I'm going to try to beat the favorite. I am adding those horses you spoke about as well in the pick 5. I'm going to spread out in the pick 5, starting things off with 2, 4, 5, 7. I think the race is a great race to kick this wonderful card off.
And I'm starting out with just the 5 and most of my tickets, and then I will say with the 4, 7 and a smaller ticket.
All right, so that takes us to race number 2. We'll see how this plays out, where we're gonna shorten it up, because I'm gonna have to shorten it up going that deep in the opening leg. Now we go on to race number 2, and it does start the pick 4 as per usual here. 50-cent base bet, just 14% takeout. Another good quality field. It's a maiden filly 3-year-old special weight, purse $46,000. Will go a mile. There's a scratch of the 3 and a late jockey change on the plain 1 to Florent Giroux. Again, Flo picks up Taps. It's on the daughter of Warfront. She's very well bred. And how'd you see this race, Danny?
I'll tell you, the 2nd, 4th, and 5th are as tough of deep fields that you can possibly get, which is perfect for the pick 5. You just got to stab the right ones.
Right.
It's all based on budget. So, for the smaller budget that we have to put on the sheet, I'm only going to use the 5, 7, 8, and 9 here. Mississippi is my top choice with Corrales and Dunn. Straight maiden, just got nipped at the wire last time. Ran a really good race. I mean, just got nipped. And then the 7, Curls and Bows, shipping in from Oaklawn. Hasn't showed a thing, but you got Lannery, you got McPeak, you got a good post.
Been facing pretty solid field down now. Now, our maiden special weights, all meetups, have been solid as well, with the increase in purses here. So
yeah, so we don't know where this horse fits. I just think you toss him in. Going to be 5 to 7 to 1 area. And then the 9 with the leading rider, Jimenez, for Sims, I think you got to have on the ticket the 9 and then the 5 honorable memory. Now, I would also, if you've got a bigger budget, I would add the 1 and the 4. And I know that sounds crazy to just keep adding horses, but I'm not going that deep in the first. I'm definitely not going that deep in the third.
Right.
So I think depending on what budget you want to spend and how much you like the 4th and 5th races, the 4 has a chance. Leicester, McKee, Good Post, straight maiden races. Every race the horse has gotten faster and going to be probably in that 12 to 15 to 1 area, which can make your whole ticket. And on a day like today, when everybody's watching, everybody's betting, because the card down south stinks.
It does. And
this card is the best.
It's the best.
It's not even close.
We're not biased either.
I've had 40 text messages in the last 2 days asking to either give me your picks or how do I get your picks.
Right.
That tells me people are watching and people are going to be betting, and these pools are going to be big.
I think they're going to be huge. They had nothing else to gamble on in the country.
There isn't. I mean, I got 6 buddies stuck in Vegas, and they've been driving me crazy.
Have you sent them your picks?
Oh, I had to. I mean, they flew out there. I got them tickets. They're supposed to sit behind Mick. They're all excited. You know, they get all the way out there, and I had to call them and say, well, now there's no fans. Let me see if I can get you in. So then Mick calls me and goes, I'll smuggle them in for you. We'll make them managers, whatever we got to do, but we'll get them in. So they're all excited. They get to go anyway. And then an hour later, I'm calling them, telling them that the game's canceled. And then everything else is canceled, so they got nothing to bet on. So they're bothering me all last night about Turfway and now today. So hopefully I can pick some winners for them, and they can be happy. And then they don't bar them from the casino,
right,
so they can't get in to bet.
Yeah, I think it's a great card. I'm all over it too. And, I'm going to be involved in every race, every one of these multi-race wagers as well. I like the 5 honorable memory you spoke of as well. This one stretching out for Mark Hubley. Rafael Bejarano comes into town, and he rides this track very well. And
the Banjo Man dominated here. And don't forget that.
We speak of this all the time here. And several of the angles that we've went to every show this entire season, I'm using today. I don't care that we have top tier trainers coming in, top notch riders coming in. I'm sticking to those a couple of the local guys that know the track, and also some of the little nuances to the track. And I included that in my handicapping all day today. I did not waver. And number 5, honorable memory, I'm using that one on top. You spoke about the 8, and briefly on the 1, you maybe added that one in as well. You get 2 for 1, and those both of those fillies are very well bred. And Flo picks up the 1, and it wouldn't surprise me if those horses could win on debut as well. This is just a talented field, and
nothing surprises me here.
I'm like you. I could toss maybe a couple, but you want to be as deep as you can in here. It's a very, very good race, and best of luck in the starting leg of that early pick 4. Now the third race, it's a filly and mare 8 other than to go a mile optional quarter claimer. And in the third race, the only changes, there's a scratch of the 1, the 13, and 14, and we're awful different here.
Yeah, because the horse that I wrote a gigantic no next to,
I got on top.
You got on top, so I want to hear that. But I'm singling the 5, and probably every ticket but one of them. I'm going to use the 4, Melissa Jane, and 1 small ticket. But Sister Kitten, to me, on class, the maker angle, Irad Ortiz, Gulfstream shipper, beat an unbelievable nice field at Gulfstream when she did win. Now she did get beat at Keeneland, but to be honest with you, I wasn't very wild about that ride that day. And I'm a big Jose Ortiz guy. I think he's one of the best in the country.
He's my favorite.
I think if you don't think that, you need your head examined. But now, comes here, gets a new trainer, but, is Mike Maker any worse than Chad Brown? I don't think he is. So, especially coming here, Kitten's Joys always like the poly.
They love the surface.
So, I think she's going to sit mid-pack. She's going to blast home. And the only way she gets beat is if Melissa Jane somehow gets that lead and just continues to run. Now, I don't have the 11. Now, I'm going to tell you why. I don't like the race she comes out of, the Speedy Solution race, and I don't like the layoff. So I'm thinking, all right, well, maybe she can move forward because of the big layoff, came back. But I just think this is a way better field.
I think it's a little bit tougher than the last race. I just think that she was the best horse in the last race, and And Speedy Solution, I like that. I think that's a pretty decent filly from the Ward Barn. In fact, she's 7-2 today in the Latonia. I think she was better than Speedy Solution last start, and that was coming off that long layoff. And she's been idle since then. Drury takes his time with these horses, and I like the horse. I like the rider change. I don't think you could get a bigger switch in jockeys there. And screenwriter, I am going to add a couple other horses in the race. I'm using the 5, like you said, for all the same reasons. And then number 8, Straight Out of Popcorn, just because she likes this racetrack. She has 2 wins and 3 second-place finishes. I think she'll set a pretty good trip. Now, I don't think there's a whole bunch of pace in the race. So I think
pick 4, pick 5.
In the pick 4.
You're going to use all those, or are you just going to use the 5-11?
I'm using a few horses. Okay. I'm using numbers 4, 5, 8, and 11 in the.
Wow, that's a lot. Now I really want to know where you're going.
Oh,
short.
You
got to go short somewhere.
I'm getting ready to tell you. We're gonna talk about that.
$800.
Now, normally race 3 starts the single 6, but not today. We're gonna have a all-stakes single 6, and that big carryover over $47,000. As we move to the 4th race, maiden filly 3-year-old special weight purse $46,000, and they're going to go 6 furlongs in race number 4. There is an equipment change not noted in the program. Please be aware that number 6, Champagne Affair, will race with the blinkers off. Again, her second career start. Now the blinkers do come off. Scratch the 13 and 14, and we couldn't be further apart in this race. And
well, we are, but when you hear my pick 5, we're not.
Okay. I do like the horse you have on top a little bit. The Fashion Code came back and run 3rd in the. She's in today, in fact, but she came back and run 3rd in the prep for the Bourbonnais Oaks. But I just think she's going to have a little bit of company, and I think number 5, Bariba, is the horse on debut. Really good field at Ellis, was beaten just a half a length, and then stretched out at Kentucky Downs. And Swanage is another one who we'll see with it in today. I just think Kenny brought his best horses for this day. It's a track he was stabled at. Yeah, the program's shining bright here in the state of Kentucky, and this filly on the turn back, I think it's the horse at 5-1. I'm going to use a couple other ones. I'm going to use Wesley Champagne Affair. Couldn't be training any better here. Obviously went off favorite as a 2-year-old at Keeneland, which all Wesley's horses do. Yeah. But I'm only using those 2 in this race, and I'm going to hope to get by just because I'm spreading so deep prior to that. Number 8, Anthropology, I think is one that may be okay. Paula Lobo doing very well at the meet. She's out of a stakes-producing mare. 10-1 to be underneath my trifecta. Now, if I'm playing tries and supers, I'm definitely using the 7 and in the tries as well. That filly, she showed some grit on debut with that speed, but I think she's up against it today.
Well, here's what I did in the pick 5. I thought this race was really, really tough, so I just went 1 hole out, 2 hole out, 3 Ewing, can't win, Virgin or Aragon in the 4, can't win. I'm going to take the rest of them. Okay. So I took 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
I like it. I like the breeding on the 9's pretty good as well.
Yeah, I mean, Drury, outside post, good breeding. And then you got the 2 makers, the 10 and 11. You get Corrales, you get Ortiz.
You're not using Cousin Vinny, are you?
I am. I'm using the 12 for one reason.
Come at it.
Speed, and speed.
Outside.
You got the 12 hole, you got speed. Who knows what happens if she makes the front?
I know what happens. You're going to have one of the only tickets.
Well, exactly, because she's
That's
going to be probably 50-1.
Right.
So, I almost blew the whole place up about 15 years ago when Greta Kunzweiler was 50-1 and win and paid $100, and I was running up and down the place celebrating and throwing beer on people. So it can happen, and that's the hole that it happens with here.
Yeah.
Not
Especially
every place,
races.
but here in sprint races, sometimes you get those speed horses in the 10, 11, 12. They make that lead, they come banking down that hill, and they hit that turn, and they just don't stop. So I like the 7 on top, though. I like the 7 the best. I thought the horse ran a really nice race. It was a lot of speed in there, kind of won the battle, lost the war type, and Fashion Code and Tickle are both really good horses, at least I think, for this level. So I don't have a big opinion in here except spread out, take as many as you can, and lean to the outside horses. Start at the 5 hole, lean out, take as many as you can. My ticket, just so because people keep hearing me kind of rattle little by little, it costs $140 if you take the 4 and the 5 in the 3rd race.
Okay.
If you only take Sister Kitten, it's only $70. So it's not the end. It's not that expensive because I didn't go deep in the 1st leg and I didn't go deep in the 3rd leg. So I'm going deep in the other 3.
I get it. I like those outside angles too. If the 12 wins in race 4, it's going to win without me. But I do respect your opinion. I don't have enough room to spread out there since I'm spread so deep.
If she does cross the wire
she wins, I lose.
Can I get a fat ball guy singing right now as she crosses the wire?
I'll do something special. I will do something special for sure. Creative credit. Mark it in your book. Now that takes us to race 5. See, I'm going to save some on my budget for race number 5. Usually everything goes through race 5, but not today. We start race 5. Now we end the pick 5 there, in the pick 4, but we start another pick 4 there. Yep. We do have some other opportunities later in the card. The single 6 is not in the majority of the sequence. It's an all-stakes single 6. We have that all-stakes pick 5 as well.
Yep.
So still a lot of good betting options as we continue on through this card. We'll talk about race number 5 with 45 minutes to post, and this is another good race.
Oh, what a tough race. I kept going back and forth, and I didn't want to violate my rules. One of my rules that I've learned from my dad since I was 4 years old, you don't take horses that just broke their maiden that are stepping into really nice races where other horses haven't. Mm-hmm. So that would eliminate the 3 on top. Can't put the 3 on top, right, because he just broke the maiden. So I kept going up and back, trying to figure out who to take, and I finally landed on the 9, 8 and aces at 8-1. And again, I love the trainer. I think this kid can really ride. We get the lightweight, and I think we got a chance to make the lead. And if this horse makes the lead, he gets brave, and he might just keep going. Now, in the pick 5, I'm 2, 3, 4, 8, 9. I'm using all 5 of them. I took the 2 and the 3, even though they're off maiden wins, because the 2 is going to be a big price, and because I can't get past the 3s for him. He looks good, other than that just broke the maiden, so I don't want to leave that one out. And then the 8, not very gentle off the layoff, but the back class it's hard to ignore that back class. It just that back class is staring you right in the face. And then Strong Yen has run so well lately, stretches out. That's another one that might make the lead. So if one of them two get left, the other one makes the lead, and now what?
Yeah. I got you. It's a great betting race, and I ended up putting Strong Yen on top myself. And this horse, since being claimed, is a totally different horse, especially the last 3 starts. Now, last start we were on him, and believe it or not, in that other than off that $8,000 win, we both talked about him, and just got beat by dirty head bob. And I think this horse is better long. When he first got this horse and he put him in that starter off the claim, the horse took some money early, ended up floating back up at a decent price, but this horse showed speed and actually was ridden way too aggressively to get to the front. And the Corral is much better rider today. And, he knows the horse. He's had luck with the horse. I'm taking a shot with a 6-1 shot. I'm like you. I have to use – I like the 3, but I'm against it just because off that maiden win. But I'm going to use a horse that hasn't raced this year, number 8, Not Very Gentle. Has some back clasp, and when the horse showed up at Churchill, it ran against a pretty good field and has a license. I wanted to have somebody else just because Aces and Eights is going to, or Eights and Aces is going to go. Strong. If something happens and something crazy happens, I want to have a closer, and I think it could set up for this horse's late running style. So I'm using 4-8. Then the 3 could pick up the pieces. I don't know that he'll be on the lead, stretching out with the inside. I think there's a little bit more speed.
Right.
Landry probably just sit off of him. Of course, he's going to wait for the rail, which I don't know that's the best here, but it's a
2's my secret long shot.
Use as many as you can in there. Horse ran a big number. He won by 9. Is made 15, but
he was 0 for 16, right? Runs in a garbage maiden 15 and then just airs them. But could get, like you said, the perfect setup.
Right.
If the 3 and the 4 and my top pick, the 9, if they all go and they go too fast, which sometimes on these big days the riders get pumped up and they go too fast, they lose their watch, and all of a sudden they go in 47 and 111, 112, and they're all staggering. You could see Abel coming down the crown of that track. And again, like you said with that other horse, this could make the pick 5. If you don't give yourself a few chances along the way and all you're taking is favorites, why even play it?
Yeah, you got to take a chance.
You got to take a few of these, and you only need one of them to win.
Right.
You get your key horse home, get one of them to win, and that's where you get the 3,000, 5,000 hits, and you're running up throwing beer on people.
And I hope you're pouring it on I hope you just.
Of course, there'll only be about 4 people there where I'm going, but.
Well, why don't you invite some more?
That might be. Is that illegal?
Where are you going?
Yet?
We could plug them a little bit.
One of my buddy's house. Is that illegal yet? Is 5 people gatherings? I mean, they keep lowering it.
No, we're still good. I think it's 50. He's got a big basement?
As long as nobody that's famous.
Social distance, 6 feet apart in that basement.
We're okay as long as nobody famous gets it. The minute somebody famous gets it, then all
Forrest
of a sudden
Gump
we're all
has it.
done. And he's already fine.
Anyway,
Oh, well.
I hope you don't have it because we're only 3 feet apart. But the first pick 5 we've talked about. I'm excited about the late pick 5. You talk about paying $3,000 and $5,000. Late pick 5 is going to pay that no problem.
Yeah.
And starting in race 6 is another bet that I think you need to be involved in. Save some of your budget for this bet. It's a single 6 20-cent base bet with a $47,000 carryover. And we started off. It's an all stakes deal here. Race number 6, it's the 34th running of the Animal Kingdom. And to kick things off with a 6.5 sprint, it's a pretty good race.
It is a good race, although my best bet of the day is in here. I don't think they can beat this horse.
Come on with it.
I love Merchants of Cool. 3-1. If there was a way I could lock 3-1, I would have a second mortgage out.
Move to England.
You got 6.5 furlongs outside. Probably the best rider here, or one of them, Wesley Ward. You got a horse that, if you didn't watch the last race, he didn't break 5th and win by a head in a struggle. He got dead left in the gate, circled the field, won anyway, when he had every reason to not win.
Right.
When they opened the gate, I went, uh-oh.
No, he showed some tenacity, and I like him as well. I'm not going to sing him. I'm using one other horse, but I do like the horse a lot. 3-1. We're both all over him, and hopefully we can get that.
I mean, the only other two are what, the 4, 6?
4 and 6, yeah, those are the two.
Which one you using it?
The 4 for Trombetta.
Okay.
Landeros is a great rider. He's ice cold in South Florida, but he does have a little horse under him here. I think with giving the horse, he can get it done. The horse has one synthetic try, and it was a stake win.
Yeah, that's a good win. That's the only two that can beat the 7.
Mm-hmm. I think the 7's going to get the trip because the 4, there's just a lot of speed in here. And the 7 don't have to be on the lead. The 9 or the 8 to go. The 9's going to show a little bit of speed. I think a couple of the inside horses have to use their post position to their advantage. With Kierkegaard out, it kind of changed things a little bit for me, the 2 being scratched. But,
right.
I think it sets up for the 7. And either of those 2 performances, his maiden win or the last win, I think lands him in a winner's circle here today. I'm going 7-4-6. Looks like you're going 7-6-4. How deep are you in your you playing the middle pick 4?
I'm playing it all, and I will single the 7 on every ticket.
Single the 7 in race number 6. We kick off stakes action, the Mayor's Electric Company Animal Kingdom Stakes. Speaking of Animal Kingdom, Graham Motion has one in there, the trainer Animal Kingdom, and that's the horse we're going to use at 8-1 price horse on the bottom of our tickets. Now, heading into race number 7. Race 7 is the all stakes pick 5. Starting with the Latonia Stakes, this is a mile stake event for the fillies and mares, and I'm going with a horse that I almost singled a horse in here.
Oh, my.
I almost singled Rogue 2 just because she loves the track. I know there's a ton of speed in the race, but the way she's been quarter-horsed out of the gate the last few times, looks like there's no way she can keep going, and she does.
She just keeps the last time I thought it was a 2 furlong race the way he rode that horse out of the gate.
The horse had every reason to stop, and she never has.
But today, how on earth?
It's a deeper field. I think she can. I'm using just for like I spoke.
There's so much speed in here.
I don't think there's Rogue 2 speed. I think she.
If she keeps going, my pick 5's done.
Well, I'm using her for second because I think there's enough to soften her up. But she fights.
Are you going to use her in the pick 5?
She fights. Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I'm using a bunch, but
me too.
She's not one of them.
Yeah, I'm putting the 8 on top. It's a 15-1 shot.
And I'm not using that one either. Jesus.
The reason I'm using her,
to make my ticket bigger.
There's so much speed. I mean, who else? Who else do you like that's going to come running besides probably the 2? I mean, maybe the 7 it sets up for. That I'm using those. I'm using the.
That's my top pick.
Is it?
New Rogue.
I like her a lot. I think that's possible.
For your boy Drew.
I think Rogue 2 will run the rest of them into the ground. The way she's been quarter-horsed and keep going.
I'm saying. I mean,
but I think she'll still hang on.
Made in the Mist is going to the lead.
Yeah.
Rogue 2 is going to the lead, right? Mm-hmm. They both have to go. And then what's Harmless has never been headed. How is she not going to go?
Well, she'll get headed today.
And then the 10's going to be up there. Now the 11 is one we need to talk about.
Well, we'll get to her. She's a speedy type 2.
But is she? Look at the first race. She got dead left in the gate. Win from 10th.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, she stretches out and she wins easy. She wins easy again. Does she have to
She
have
don't
the
have
lead?
to have it. No, not no.
I mean, we don't. I mean, all I could say, 12-1, undefeated. She's on my pick 5. Now, I because of the pace, I can't put her on top.
Right.
But I can put her in the pick 5
right.
at
No, I
that
get
price. Now if she was 5-2, I'd say, we'll try to beat her. But
right.
I'm using the 2, 3, 6, 7, 9, 11. I'm not short in here. I'm taking every horse I think can close, and then
me too. I'm spreading out, and that's why I put the 8 on top. I wanted a price horse.
Right.
Now Rogue 2, I think she can box on. Then after that, Speedy Solution will benefit from a hot pace. The 7 New Rue. And I'll add in the 11. I wasn't going to, but I'll throw her in just because you talked about her. I don't want to leave her off. Now, I mean, what about Gorgeous in Rags? Can you use her?
I think you have to. Just off the, I love Walsh. It's my dad's favorite trainer. I love him. Lady Kate, Lady Kate would be 2-5 in this race. So, I think you got to use that horse. And you get Florent Giroux, you get a closer. I just think somebody's going to come storming down the middle of the track. I think it's going to be New Rue, and I'm hoping that I can bet my 100 on this horse and pick me up 2 dimes.
Right.
Well, if I get 12-1, I'm going to be sailing.
If New Rue does, I'm going to be happy because I'm going to have her on my ticket. But I'm hoping running ice. She's going to have to step up, but I think the pace is going to be just such a hot tempo here. So we're spreading out. Dan and I are in agreement. It's going to be set up for a late closing type here in race number 7, the Latonia Stakes, to go a mile, and we're using at least 5 or 6 horses apiece as we head into the 8th race, which starts the late pick 4, all stakes pick 4, the 33rd edition of the Rushaway. It's a $100,000 guaranteed stake event, and it's going to go a mile and 16th. I'm going to go with a horse that let me see. You using the 1?
I'm using the 1 in my big pick 5 spread ticket with my single, but in my extra tickets, no.
Okay.
But I'm going to be in a couple tickets.
I'm using 3 horses in here, and number 1, Crypto Cash. I'm putting this horse on top. I think the horse gets the perfect pace set up. It is in along the rail. Corey Lannery rides for Kenny McPeak, and I think this is probably one of the livest horses Kenny has in on the whole program. After that, number 6, Amen Corners, another one I'm going to use at 12-1, just because the rider knows how to ride this racetrack, and because of the possible the pace in here, I think I'm going to have this horse sitting in a perfect position, and will come storming home late. And number 8, Memorable, you have to use that horse. That horse was a winner, pretty easy winner here in a 1X. So owns a win over the track. Then went to Texas, didn't fare so well, but comes back. You have to respect Steve Asmussen.
Yeah, I think this race, if you had the budget, I could take all but the 2 and 5. The 2 at 7-2. I'm glad you didn't like this horse. I wrote yuck next to it. I don't know how 7-2. In my book, this horse 25-1. Now, I've been wrong before, but this is the game. We're trying to beat horses that are short-priced horses.
Exactly.
And I'm trying to map this race out in my head and say, how could this horse beat me? Wire to wire is the only way. Well, I don't see that. I just don't see that horse getting a wire-to-wire trip.
And there's another horse in here that neither one of us have on our 3 top picks, and that's the morning line favorite, number 7, Something Natural.
Yeah, the horse is more of a dirt horse to me.
I thought so as well.
Going to have to close, going to be a short price. I think Memorable's the horse at 5-1. The win over the track, goes down in that stake race, just throw that race out. The horse has an affinity for the poly, has the perfect, I think, here at least, the perfect post position going a mile and 16th when you've got a little bit of speed. The 2's going to go, the 5's going to go, maybe the 1 will go, but he'll be stuck in on that fence, and he'll be able to just fall right over with this horse into the 3 path where you get no kickback, and that's key here, no kickback in your face. He can go whenever he wants to go. Now, maybe the horse isn't good enough, and we haven't even talked about Uncork the Bottle. After what happened last week in Florida, there's certain trainers, and this one's one of them, that I got to see what's going to happen. Will I put them in the pick 5? Yeah, but I can't bet. I can't bet on because until I see, what's your stats going to be moving forward. Anybody that has that, I'm not sure. I got to see them. I just got to see them. So I'm going to put on the ticket defensively, but smaller players I'd put 3, 4, 7, 8. Bigger players I'd add the 1 and add the 6, and that's the way I would go. Because the next race, I don't know if you agree, but I'm not trying to beat this horse in the next race.
Me neither. I'm not either, and that's why I'm spreading in race number 8. It starts at pick 4. We're going to use a bunch of horses there, and we'll have some tickets for you later on here in the program. And the next race is the 20th edition of the Twin Spires Kentucky Cup Classic. It's a $150,000 guaranteed stake event to go a mile and an eighth. Now, before we talk about that, Dan, let's take a little break here. We're 8 races in, and we have a few races left to talk about, including another pick 4 on races 9 through 12. But first, we're going to take a little break here, and we're going to honor America with the playing of our national anthem. Good afternoon once again, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into the Turfway Park pre-race show. And at this time, if you'll take out your racing programs, I'll give you tonight's late program changes. 12 races on the card here on this special 1:10 p.m. post time on Jeff Ruby Stakes Day. Several betting options today. We have added a couple of pick 5s and a couple of pick 4s as well. Big carryover in the single 6. We'll get to that as we progress through this card. Race number 1, jockey change on the 3, Kitten's Man to Gabe Lagunas. Gabe Lagunas on the 3 in the opener. In the second race, the 1 Taps has a change of jockey to Florent Giroux. Florent Giroux picks up the 1 Taps. Scratch number 3, Better Angels. Number 3, Better Angels for Bob Street has been scratched. Race number 3, there are 3 scratches. Scratch number 1, Madam Barbarian. Scratch number 13, Tickle. And number 14, Yield for the Shawan Place has been scratched. So third race numbers 1, 13, and 14 have all been scratched. In the fourth race, please be aware that number 6, Champagne Affair, will race with the blinkers off. Equipment change on number 6. Champagne Affair, the blinkers come off. Scratch 13, Auntie Mabel. Scratch 14, Since You Left. Race number 5 starts a middle pick 4. Simply take out the also eligible. Scratch 13 and 14. In the 6th race, we start our stakes action. And we also have a 20-cent single 6 jackpot wager that starts in race number 6. It's an all-stakes single 6, and there's a carryover of well over $40,000 in there. I think it's over $47,100. Scratch number 2, Kierkegaard. Number 2, Kierkegaard has been scratched from the Animal Kingdom. The 7th race, the 30th edition of the Latonia Stakes, kicks off the all-stakes pick 5. There's a jockey change on the 12, Flash and Dance, make the rider Gabe Lagunas. Lagunas picks up the outside horse in the 7th. In the 8th race, 33rd edition of the Rushaway, offers all stakes pick 4 wagering. There's a scratch of number 5, Drew. Number 5, Drew, has been scratched from the 8th. Ninth race, the 20th running of the Twin Spires Kentucky Cup Classic. It does start the late pick 4. Scratch number 7, Thirsty Betrayal. Number 7, Thirsty Betrayal is out. Please be aware the 13 draws in will race, and scratch number 14, Apreciado. Number 14, Apreciado, has been scratched from the 9th. Race number 10 is the 38th edition of the Maxim Craneworks Bourbonette Oaks, $150,000 guaranteed stake event for the Philly 3-year-olds. This is worth some Kentucky Oaks points as well. Scratch number 1, Mama's Gray Ghost. And be aware the 13 draws in will run. The 11th and featured race is the 49th running of the Grade 3 Jeff Ruby Stakes, $250,000 in purse money up for grabs. Also some coveted Derby points as well. It's a mile and 8 stake event. Scratch number 8, Finnick the Fierce. Number 8, Finnick the Fierce, has been scratched. 12th and final race, scratch number 7, Sabolian. Scratch numbers 13 and 14. So 12th race, scratch 7, 13, and 14. Welcome back to the Odds Couple Show, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you just tuning in, we're 8 races in. I'm track announcer Jimmy McNerney alongside ace handicapper Dan Cronin, and we've had some pretty good opinions, and we've been close along the way here. And now this 9th race we're going to talk about, we like the same horses. I know you love one. I'm going to use 3 horses, and
I'm 3 in here.
I'm going to talk about 3 horses in here.
Okay.
I think it's down to 3,
okay.
But your single is going to be on my ticket, but
okay.
I'm not going to single him.
Okay.
I know you love a horse in here, and I've been against the horse the last couple of starts.
Me too.
But he really surprised me the other day. I'm going to use him, but I think there's a horse. I think Blended Citizen has a license to beat him 5-2. Now is drawn to the outside, but was kissed up last start in the Grade 3 race down in Louisiana. This horse is a winner here. Won our signature race, and I just think there's going to be a lot of pace set up for this horse. For Laurent, he knows how to ride the poly, or at least the artificial anyway, the synthetic, as he's crushed up in Arlington for a long time. And I just love the horse. I think he's going to get a perfect pace set up. Now, am I going to use the 10 Some Like It Hot Brown? Yes. I will not single him, but, he did nothing wrong here over the synthetic. He's 3 for 3. Had a bit of a layoff, came back at Gulfstream in a turf event that he trailed the field and was wide, and we were against him last start, but he opened our eyes in the actual prep for this race where he crushed and was a winner. He won by 3, but was drawn away in hand, run a pretty good time. The number came back good as well. And then after that, number 3, I think you like this horse too. Nonetheless, this horse is another one undefeated here at Turfway.
Yeah, I think it's a match race between the 3 and the 10. The way I see this race, the 2's going to go, Flying Scotsman's going to go. Moon over Miami, now that they'll take the Snifle hold off and let him run. I mean, I don't know what happened.
Explain to me
time.
that.
Well, the horse has been on a fast pace 2 straight races, 23-2, 46, 23, 47. And all of a sudden, he's 7th by 7 lengths, back there with a hot dog in his hand or something. I have no idea what happened to this horse last time, and I've watched the replay and zeroed in and just did the horse get hurt? I don't know. So I just draw a line through it and know that this horse has speed. That rider is going to send. But
we're not using him.
I'm not using him, but I think it sets it all up because Scotsman's going to go, Montana's going to go, the 11 Lanier's going to go. So that means
we know that
Irad should be able, on Some Like It Hot Brown, to just use that natural speed, fall over into that 3-path, let the 2 or 3 horses go, and just sit and wait. And then he's going to come 4 wide on the turn. He's going to open up in the stretch, and then nonetheless, Royal Mesa, Blended Citizen, those kind of horses, to beat this horse, somebody's going to have to run by him at the 16th pole, the way I see this race. And I'm not sure they can do that. I think this horse is really, really good, and he's never even had, Irad hasn't rode this horse since 2018.
In the Breeders' Cup, right?
Yeah. So, the horse almost got home in the Breeders' Cup.
You could have rode him last time, though.
Yeah, that's how powerful he was, though, and
it was very impressive.
And that's the thing. It's not like this horse came into an easy race with an easy setup, and everybody liked him, and he was 1-9, and he won like he was supposed to. None of us even liked the horse. That was a good, solid race, and there were other options in there to try to beat him, and he just won like he was just way better than everybody. So I think he's the winner. I think he's my single on probably. I'm going to probably bet 4 or 5 different tickets. He'll be on the single on every ticket but one. I will save with Nonetheless a little bit just because I have an affinity for that horse because he helped me win a contest one time and finish in the top 5 in another one.
You don't like my top pick at all.
I don't like Blended. I think Blended Citizen can hit the board. I just don't think he's going to win. From that post position, I think he's going to drop way, way back, and he's not used to being that far back, and I think he's going to end up further back than he's ever been, and he's going to have to come running. But he's got a chance. There's enough pace. There's not a ton of pace, but there's enough.
I think there's enough. And there's a horse I'm going to use in the tries and supers in there as well. May get overlooked. We haven't talked about number 9, Signal Man. I think this horse, just the possible pace down, and been facing some good horses. Mr. Money. How good was he all year last year for the Calhoun Barn and Chester Thomas, and only got beat 10 lengths to War of Will, 3 lengths behind Vacoma, Code of Honor. The list goes on, and was third at beating 3 lengths to Game Winner. Ran in behind Nick's Go, who was second in the British Cup. So been keeping good company, and I'm gonna have this horse in my in all my exotics underneath my top couple.
I have
picks.
to use Pikachu in the try.
Well, I was getting to that because you used him in a stake event earlier when there was a good some of these horses in here in a pace meltdown race, and this one with some pace. He's going to be a big number.
Yeah, he's going to be 25 to 1. So I'm going to take Some Like It Hot Brown with Pikachu third, and I'm going to try to light it up.
Well, yeah, hopefully you get lucky there. I'm on the 12, 10, and 3. I'm going to add a couple of horses in as well as we'll talk about later. Now, race number 10. This is the 38th running of the Maxim Crane Works of Bourbonnette Oaks, $150,000 guaranteed filly 3-year-old stake event to go long. And I know I like a horse in here. We spoke yesterday. You don't like it all because of the pace, but I'm using this horse because of the pace. As we get further to this card, and I'm going to become a weatherman real quick, we're supposed to get some rain. It's going to rain for a couple hours. We're supposed to get some snow. Now, I think the track will tighten up. I think as the later it goes on, it could be conducive to speed. Now, this horse has done nothing wrong. 9 to 5 for Gary Barber and Peter Miller. That's number 9, Laura's Light. Gets the top jockey. Has only had 1 defeat, and that was in a Grade 3 stake event. And that first start of the year was a pretty good start there at Santa Anita. Rallied from off the pace. Now, I don't think this one has to have the lead. So if it's really hot tempo, but when I look at it, I think she's going to have the lead, and I really don't think anything can go with her. So I think just for those reasons, because of the possible bias in the track by the time we get to this race. Now, if it goes on throughout the card, I may adjust if we don't get the rain, but number 5, Past the Plate, is another one I like a lot. She's a daughter of Temple City. I know you're going to speak about her because I know you like her as well. And then after that, those are the 2 for me. I was reaching. Once I get past those 2, I'm going to use the 4, Oxen Power, just because she loves Turfway, and both times she has won, it's been impressive. And when she won on debut and came up the dead fence all the way down the stretch, that caught my eye. We bet on her last time, and she did the same thing, rallied from way off the pace. And I think you got to use her a little bit. She's going to be a price if you're going to play the tries and supers.
Well, you pretty much called it. The reason I'm against your top pick is because the 1 and 2, even though they have no chance to win, they're going to run on that first turn from the inside. And I think they're going to force the 9 to really go faster than she wants to go. And then when they turn for home, Jimenez is going to have to pull out that ball bat and do everything he can to keep her going. And I'm just not sure that Laura's Light can keep running. Now, maybe she can, but I'm going 3, 4, 5 in here in the pick 5. I'm taking Queen of God, who's I think Irad will sit just off it. try to get out of there, try to come storming home, and maybe get first run on the 4 and the 5. But if Past the Plate takes to the poly, I think she's the best filly. She just absolutely flew at Keeneland and flew at Churchill and didn't even know what she was doing yet. Now, you say, well, maybe she hung a little bit last start. I think they moved a little bit early, and Alms is really, really not. I mean, Alms would be 1-5 in this race. Alms is one of the best fillies in the country on the grass. So I think Past the Plate's going to sit back, going to blast home, get the perfect setup. Oxen Power is just a long shot to try to boost my pick 5 ticket if I could get lucky there. I think Past the Plate's a nice bet if you get anything over 3 or 4 to 1.
Yeah, this is a very good race, and I'm excited about the entire card. This back half of the card, every one of these stakes they're just so loaded, and great betting opportunities with these full fields. Great job by Tyler Picklesheimer and his staff, including stakes coordinator Randy Werman. Now, that takes us to the race we're here for with 15 minutes to post, the 49th edition of the Grade 3 Jeff Ruby Stakes and $250,000 stake event. We did lose the one-eyed horse, Finnick the Fierce, number 8. Finnick the Fierce has been scratched. Still a good field. I did think that horse had a little bit of chance to run on the ticket, and now that changes things.
It cut my pick 5.
Yeah, me too. Changes things a little bit, shortened it up. I'm going with a local horse, and I know everybody here root for this one. The easy winner of the Battaglia, that's number 11, Invader, Son of Warfront. The number came back really good on this. The rag number on Invader, Son of Warfront, and perfect 2 for 2 over the poly. And since moving the poly, he's been a pretty different horse. Broke his maiden better than 12, crushed the Battaglia. Now, it wasn't as deep as field as this, but it was a still decent, solid field.
Well, since my brother's moved to California, he hangs around all these guys that likes the rag sheets. And I got a call this morning that said, I got one play all day for you on the rag sheet. And it was Invader.
Horse, yeah.
I said, well, I already like him anyway. He's like, well, I'm just telling you from a rags point of view, anybody that has rag sheets is going to bet on Invader. I said, well, that's good and bad. That means he's going to be 8-5. But I'm going to have him in the pick 5 anyway. I'm just hoping to be alive. By the last race, if I can get alive to Invader, and then my saver tickets are the 5, and you can pronounce that name like you did yesterday.
Miaminoy.
There you go. And then the 6, Halo again. I think I've got it wrapped up with those 3. If I get beat with those 3, I'm just going to take my whooping and head to the hills, because I think that Invader's going to fall into that perfect poly trip that I've already talked about a few times. You got some tactical speed, just ease your way over into the 3 path. Not a straw in your path. Go when you want to go, and somebody's going to have to run by him. And maybe the 5 or 6 can run by him.
The 5 has a huge late closing kick. We talked about him a little bit yesterday.
Yeah, he got a brutal trip last time.
Yeah, yes, he did. He should have been unsaddled that day in the stake event last start in the Dania Beach. Crushed the field of maidens 2 back, and on debut, running behind the Breeders' Cup winners undefeated from the Chad Brown barn, but had an excuse, brushed the gate, and kind of a learning experience after that. I think Kendrick trying to school the horse after that, taught him some things, and now he's back aboard. He's Danny's go-to rider. I like the horse a lot, and then number 12, Field Pass, coming out of the same race, got one of those dream trips through the middle. Somehow Paco got him through. I'm not a fan of him. You are, but I love the rider change. I think Irad Ortiz over Paco is like Michael Jordan over me. So that's
I don't know if it's that bad.
11-5-12 for me, 11-6-5 for you. We have 12 minutes here. We'll touch on the last race really quick. It's a maiden 3-year-old special weight to go a mile. Number 6, Midnight Joe Star is my top pick. I'm going to use Peerless Brown, number 3, for second. And long shot number 2, Run Tech at 12-1. Been working very good for Mattress Mac and Laura Waller, 6-3-2 for me. How about you?
I'm 6-3-4, but I could see adding the 2 in the pick 4. Then the night. I mean, the 6, if the 6 is, I just don't know anything about the trainer, but if the 6 is ready, the 6 has just way better numbers than everybody else.
Yeah, I think so.
So, I mean, maybe you skew your tickets a little bit more to the 6, make $1.50 one and then make 50-cent tickets to the other ones, because the 6 is going to be the lowest payout, and he's probably going to win, but I do want some other ones on my ticket, so 3 and 4 is fine with me, and then if you want to add the 2, that wouldn't bother me either. I don't think the outside horses can win.
I didn't like any of them either. So that's how we see it for this 12 race card. Are you getting out of here? Are you sticking around? Are you going to do any more?
I'm going to go down and visit my dad in Burr for a little while, and then I'm.
Will you be back on set or?
I will not be.
Well, this will be our last one of the season.
Already?
Already. But hopefully we send you out of here with some money.
Yep,
And
let's get
great betting card. We'll have some talent on throughout the afternoon here as well with some more insight and a couple of different views. Now we're going to head to the paddock real quick. We're about to get riders up here at 11 minutes to post. Best of luck on this wonderful 12-race Ruby card.